Hello, everyone. My name is Ron Timmermans. I'm one of the many hosts for the Florida Aviation Network. And today we're broadcasting from the Sun and Fun campus at the 2021 Aerospace Expo, Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo. It's delighted to be here, and we missed you last year, of course, because of the pandemic. We didn't have a Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo. But this year, as the tagline says, we're back, and we're back with a vengeance, and we're enjoying our time here. And I'm sure if you're at the Aerospace Expo, you're going to have a great time. If you're headed there this week, you're going to have a great time. And if you're not headed here, well, make your plans for next year, please, because it's a great place to come and a great place to see everything about aviation that you've wondered about. Today, I've got some very special guests with me that we're going to interview today and learn some more about their background and some interesting opportunities in aviation. If we get a wide shot now, on the far right is Mr. Bob Raskey. Bob is with United Airlines. Next to him is Ms. Karen Noll, also with United Airlines. And on my immediate left is Ms. Savanah Raskey, also with an aviation endeavor, but this time with the National Guard, right, or the Air National Guard. And so it's great to have all of you here today. Thank you for joining us. It's wonderful to see you and to learn more about what you do. And if I may start with you, Bob, long time with United Airlines, but before that, some service to our country. I see a veteran's label on you. Thank you so much for your service to our country in the Air Force and in the Guard. I understand that you flew combat missions in Gulf War I and then returned 10 years later in rescue missions for what is kind of known as Gulf War II or Operation Iraqi Freedom. So thank you for that service. So what can you tell us about pilot pathways and something that's a passion of yours?
Yes, Ron. So, interesting enough, aviation's a wonderful thing. And there's so many ways to get there and so many different paths. And the folks next to me are going to describe some of the new interesting pathways to them. My own pathway began because I got kicked out of high school back in the day. So I was up there, going through high school, not really discovering what I really wanted to be or what I wanted to do. And in that, basically, I started off great. And then by year 2, year 3, kind of dropped out, tuned out, you might say, in the day. So I was just doing my own thing on the side, not really looking at any kind of education or future. But my mother, one day, just sticks this little piece of paper in front of me, says, join the National Guard Reserve. I had no clue what that might be. But I did. And in that moment, when I joined the Guard Reserve, I discovered aviation. Because an aviation unit up in Long Island, a helicopter unit, I signed on to be a helicopter mechanic. And from there, I learned about everything to fly. And I fix them. But one day I had the vision of being up in the sky. So that pathway existed for me and created that moment where I discovered the Guard Reserve, and I further discovered then after that the opportunities in ROTC world, which is I went to Embry-Riddle University right after that. So that moment triggered me in a pathway of discovery, which became then the traditional collegiate path at Embry-Riddle and ROTC, and which when I graduated from there, I went to, of course, Air Force training full-time, F-16s, HC-130s. And that along the whole way there just opened up many opportunities. And they'll talk a little bit about the Guard Reserve, Savanah will. But for me, it was a life-changing moment because like many folks out there, as we see planes in the sky, we want to fly. How do we get there? How do we do it? And these pathways are not easy. They're expensive, sometimes very tough to find out the way to get there. And the future today is much changed, much more opening and encouraging. Look where we are today with the Central Florida Aviation Academy right by us. So there are a lot of opportunities there. And for me, that pathway of discovery began with somebody who believed in you. My mother, in that case, said, well, get a job, but here's a good one. And so those opportunities along the way are created by everybody out in the audience. If you have sons, daughters, relatives, and friends, and you're in aviation, it always takes that 1 minute to say, have you ever thought about flying? And I often do that a lot, just driving around in a bus sometimes, and say, have you thought about flying? A little discussion going on. And then you talk about the ways to get there. My particular pathway was Guard Reserve, and then active duty Air Force, eventually the airlines, which I've been for now close to 30 years. So it's been a good ride, and here today, it's so nice to be and see everybody out there of all ages and learn to fly. Flying's good, and it's a great moment to be back for Sun and Fun to see that, because a lot of information today over the next couple of days people could learn about pathways. So that's been my journey here, and today I'm just grateful being where I'm at and go from there.
And it all started out with your mom.
it all started with that moment of like, yes. Interesting enough, when I went to the guard unit, the first job they offered me was to be a cook. And I thought that might be a great job because I had no interest in aviation at the time, absolutely zero. But then I said, I don't know about that. And the guy flipped his chart and said, wow, how about helicopter mechanic? And that was the trigger point, yes.
So do you still work on helicopters?
No, I wish I did. I've rated in all the helicopters, fly them on there. So, as a matter of fact, I enjoyed all the mechanics part of it there. And actually, I encouraged my daughter here to begin airframe and power plant schools too, so she's the one who could take it from me there.
And we'll hear all about that in just a few moments.
Absolutely.
Well, a couple of stats are appropriate, Bob. How many years have you been flying, or won't you tell us?
So since 18, so probably 30 plus years, 35 years or so.
And many of those with United? Very good.
Many of them United and GA World prior to that, and GO mixed here now too.
Good.
Yes.
And how many hours?
25 plus, 25,000.
25,000 hours. That's quite a record. That's great. That's great. And how long were you in the military?
Military, a total of 22 years, and it was a combination of I was an Army Guard, then Air Force Guard, Air Force Active Duty, Air Force Reserve, and retired. So about 22 years of a mixture of the different components that are available out there. You know, I went from Army to Air Force, Guard, Reserve, Active Duty, retired, which is amazing what's out there when you just try to discover the pathway.
Indeed, indeed. So yours has been not necessarily a complicated pathway, but certainly a complex one, it sounds like.
Complex, diverse, but rewarding in all the fields. Because
sure.
if it wasn't for my Army experience, one day on the ramp as I'm wrenching a helicopter at the school at Fort Rucker, Alabama, a warrant officer came over and said, son, you're doing a great job there. Have you ever, and that was that question, that's why I used that. He goes, have you ever thought about flying? And I did not. I thought I was going to be a happy mechanic at this point. And then he took me over to the flight club and gave me my intro lesson. And I literally said, I'm in, and I finished my private pilot license in the 2 months I was there by doing by night. I'd be mechanic school by day, and then learning how to fly at night, took my check ride in the evening, and basically that started the pathway to flying.
Very good,
So, yeah.
very good. So you started out early getting night flying hours in your logbook.
I did.
That's great, that's great. Well, Bob, thanks for giving us that rundown. That's very interesting. And one of your colleagues is Miss Karen Noll, seated next to you, also with United Airlines. How many years for you, Karen, with United?
I've been with United for 4 years, but I'm an airline pilot for over 20 years.
Oh, I see. So a long time. Very
Yeah.
good. And what are you flying now for United?
I fly a 777.
777?
First officer, yeah.
As an FO. Very good, very good. And do you like that airplane pretty well, I imagine?
I love that plane. I know it makes me sound like an airplane geek, but I've flown a lot of aircraft, and that is my favorite airplane.
Is it? Well, that's
It is.
good. That's good. A lot of automation, I'm sure, in a 777.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it takes someone to understand it and know how to fly it. Exactly. Well, when did you, tell us a little bit about how you got into aviation. Did you have a pathway similar to Bob's, or did you have a different, totally different one?
Very different. When I finished college, I was going to go on to school and get my doctorate, but then I just started thinking all I wanted to do is see the world, and 3 more years of school, and then I'll be junior, and when am I going to see this? And so I ran off and became a Northwest Airlines flight attendant. I was based in Honolulu, and I was there very short. The very first flight was on a 747, and I went in the cockpit, and I sat there, and I looked at them working and talking on the radios, and I go, this is what I want to do.
This is for you. Huh?
Yep, so I got my private in Honolulu, and then I came here to Florida and got all my ratings in Sanford. And then I got hired very quickly at Continental Express, which became ExpressJet. And I was a captain there for 15 years and then came over finally.
Wow.
To
So you've just
United,
been with United now 4 years, you said?
Yes.
And did you go immediately into the 777?
No, I started on the 737, then the 757, 767, and 777. As soon as there was an opening, I kept reaching higher because I like the long flights, the long haul, and I like being challenged. And there's a bigger plane, there's more switches and more things, and it's a greater challenge.
Yeah.
More exciting.
So what would you say to women today, or people of diversity, about their opportunities in aviation? Good or not so good, or is it tough, or what would you say?
So when I started as an airline pilot, only 3% of all airline pilots were women. And we've increased all the way, I think my airline has 7%, which is like the highest. But there's been lots of scholarship organizations out there that are trying to encourage women and people of diverse backgrounds. ISA 21, the International Society of Women Airline Pilots, gave out over $100,000 in scholarships to women who want to become pilots. Women in Aviation, there's 99s, OBAP, the Organization of Black Airline Professionals. They all are doing their part to encourage and create excitement to get people into the airlines. But now, just recently, it's the airlines themselves have decided, you know what, we're not tapping into 50% of the population. Maybe we have some amazing pilots there. So that just in the last couple of weeks, they've announced that all of them have a pathway program. Delta, American, United has Aviate, and they just announced that they have a flight school. So they're digging in not only to the college level, but they're trying to encourage at all levels and demystify that yes, anybody can do this with hard work and perseverance. And they also are trying to give them, like I mentioned, a pathway, a blueprint, because it's been so complicated. How do I get from here to an airline pilot? Well, they're giving you the blueprint, they're mentoring you the whole way along, and they're offering opportunities for scholarships. They're showing them how to apply, where to get the scholarships, and then also low interest loans, so that the people who from traditionally poor backgrounds can actually get a chance to fly as well.
So the opportunities are many now for women and people of diversity that get into aviation careers if there's an interest there. And then also I would imagine in mechanic works for aviation mechanics. Are the airlines doing something there as well to encourage people?
They are encouraging them. And I think some of it too, the women, I don't think they realize that it is a great career for women. And I have 2 children, they're grown, they went to school, Eagle Scouts, they're good kids, and your daughter, amazing, and they turn out just fine. And you can pick airlines if you want to go the airline route. You can go day trips, like Allegiant Airlines and Frontier. You just go off and come back every night for dinner, or you can go away for 6 days at a time, which is what I'm doing now.
Yeah. So lots of different opportunities and different lifestyles that you can do as in this case an airline pilot. And then of course there's other opportunities for people in the military, of course, and do corporate flying and the like. And people that choose to go into the Guard, like you, Savanah. So tell us about this. You're finished with college, I trust. What did you graduate in, and then where did you go after that?
So in college, I pursued the performing arts. So I actually got a degree in the performing arts, which was very different from my aviation career that I'm pursuing now. But I actually had no desire to fly up until after I graduated from college. I did enlist into the National Guard out of high school by a gentle push from my father.
So it was his mother that pushed him and he that pushed you, or gave you the opportunity.
And I'm very grateful. I was under the impression, I can't do this. And growing up in our society, you're surrounded by these stereotypes where you think you're too weak or you don't have what it takes. And when he gave me that push, I felt the desire to go and serve my country. And so I enlisted, and it was the greatest thing I ever did. And it got me through college, which is great. It helps pay for your schooling, your education. At this point in time, I still didn't want to fly until I had been in my Air Force career for about 4 years. I was graduating college, and I thought, I want to be in the military, but the only way I want to stay is if I'm up in the cockpit and I'm flying. So without telling my dad, telling anybody, I decided to try flying one more time. I thought, I'm going to give this a shot. And I remember the day I got my private license, I didn't tell my dad I had my check ride. And so I called him, and I'm like, Dad, I'm a pilot now. And he didn't believe me. And it was just like the greatest moment. And it's put me on this trajectory to now I've been in the military for almost 10 years. And it's incredible and crazy to think that if I hadn't signed up and sworn the oath that day, that I wouldn't be where I am today, which is fortunately getting hired to fly the F-35 for a unit in Alabama, which was something I, from being young little me pursuing, maybe being an opera singer to becoming a fighter pilot is just
Wow.
crazy.
But you said F-35, so I'm a Bonanza pilot, and there's an F-35 V-tail Bonanza. Is that the one you're talking about, or are you talking about the Air Force's F-35?
I hope they don't mean that one. I didn't read the fine print, but yeah, the F-35 Air Force fighter jet.
Wow, that is incredible. That is incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's very exciting for you. So let me make sure I understand. So you enlisted in the Guard right after high school?
Correct.
And then the Guard helped pay for your college education?
They do. You have state tuition, and so I was stationed out in Utah, and they have great benefits. You have state tuition waivers, state tuition assistance. They really want to educate their people. And so all throughout the Guard life, I was in college going to school, just drilling 1 week in a month, and then 2 weeks a year you're full-time, and then you have some deployments, but your school really works around that. And then I had my education paid for, and the benefits that you get post-education, you have post-9/11 GI bills, and a lot of flight schools will take the GI benefits and help pay for training as well.
So is this program open only to women, or is it open to
anyone that's enlisted in the military, the Air National Guard, active duty, reserve? Once you swear an oath, Uncle Sam gives back to you.
Indeed. Well, I'm sure there's input that you give too, of course. It's nothing totally for free, but it's certainly a good benefit that you get by enlisting in the military as you did in the Guard, so that's
Definitely.
great. So you finished your college degree and got your private pilot license while you were in college, or afterwards?
So after I graduated college, I started pursuing aviation.
Oh, that's when you started.
So that's when I got my private, and we have a Cherokee 6 that my dad has help give me ownership towards, with the caveat that I'm working on my A&P so that I can help maintain the aircraft.
Well, tell us about this A&P education. So this is something, so you're through college, you're waiting to go into the Air Force to fly the F-35s?
Right, so I'm still enlisted. I've been enlisted for the past 9 years, and I'm through college. I got my private, commercial, instrument, seaplane rating, just building my hours, doing everything I can. And while I have this gap in between waiting to go to officer training school, I've begun my master's. I'm about halfway through that now, which the military will also pay for furthering education.
Do you have any free time in your life?
I do not, and my dad makes sure that I do not have it. But I'm really grateful for that because time is precious. And
what an ambitious young woman. I'm very, very pleased and very proud of you, as I'm sure as your dad and others that know you. This is great.
Well, thank you.
This is great. So you'll soon go to OTS at Maxwell Air Force
Correct.
Base in Montgomery?
Yep, it's cool because I'm based in Alabama, Montgomery, and then I'll also have officer training school in Montgomery. And then for pilot training, I'll most likely be going to Vance, Oklahoma.
Enid, Oklahoma.
Yep.
Yes, I've been there a number
That's
of times. Yeah. It's an interesting place. Have you been there before?
I have not.
Okay,
I've
well,
heard things.
I'll just wait until you get there and you can call me and tell me what you think.
But you didn't tell me about all this.
It's great, but you're going to be all wrapped up in pilot
I'll
training.
be super focused.
What will you fly there? Tweety Birds or?
Yeah, we have the T6, T38, and then it'll be part of the new UPT 2.0 where they're putting a lot of VR training because
great.
they want to save costs on money, and I have a VR headset as well, so I'm just trying to get my training going prior to going, so I'm just as ready as possible to take the controls and just sail through.
Yes, indeed. So how many hours have you accumulated so far in the cockpit?
So I have about 600. I got my license about 2 years ago.
Wow, you have been flying a lot.
Yeah.
300 hours a year. That's great.
It's nice. We have the Cherokee 6 base in Daytona, so I get up and fly as much as I can.
Okay, and you live in the Daytona area?
I do, yes.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So do you get to fly it at all, Bob?
Not much.
Not much.
He has to rip the yoke from my hands.
If I do, I usually am in the back. See with a test. I go in the back, catch up on reading, and then these two will be in front flying.
Is that right? Well, that's good. And Karen, do you fly GA airplanes as well still, or?
Yeah, so Robert also owns an Aztec, which is on the cover of AOPA magazine this month.
All right.
Yeah, it's a cover model. Yeah. So we fly that too. And it was a long time, maybe almost 20 years between my flight training and then getting back in GA. And it was just a means to an end at that point when I was trying to become a professional pilot. But when I went back to it, that's when I really got to enjoy it. And I'm like, we got the music coming in, and I'm coming in, I'm like Top Gun, and it's more intimate flying, I'm like, it's smaller, and you feel the bumps more, and you come in the small runways, and I'm falling in love with aviation in a different way now.
All over again.
All over again.
How wonderful. How wonderful. And Bob, do you get to fly GA very much? You said in the back seat often, but
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'll fly with them, but most of the time, like I'll go with her. I go with her a lot there to practice some training. Just continue training. Working on the whole crosswind landings, forward slip, side slip. So I'm as an instructor play that role. Both of them too, because they're both getting their multi ratings coming up here. She wants to get her MEI, and she's going to get back reinstated. And then and get a multi. So we use the Aztec. So I still play the role of the instructor. So we do that. Yeah.
And is the Aztec at Daytona as well?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
yes,
well that's
yes.
good. So you got all your airplanes there. That's good. Well, quite a few things to fly. The hangar is full of airplanes, and people are ready to go fly them and enjoy GA as well as commercial aviation and soon to be military aviation for you, Savanah. I'm delighted and excited for all of you. It's great. So. Captain Bob Raskey for United Airlines, and your pathways that you've been telling us about that you went to get to the airlines and to a career in aviation. Karen, your path has been very interesting as well, and certainly points out to women that a pathway in aviation is certainly doable, along with hard work, regardless of your gender. And Savanah, your path to aviation has been unique in itself, and certainly an exciting one as well, and going to continue to be an exciting pathway as you get to flying the F-35. Will you be able to take your dad for a ride in one? Or?
Unfortunately, they only have single-seat models as of yet.
Okay, so the first time you fly it,
it'll be a solo.
Yeah, I can understand that. That'll be good. That'll be good. Well, you can maybe just tell him all about it. Take a selfie and send it to him.
Maybe let him sit in the cockpit if he's good.
Oh, that would be good. So
I'll use the VR glasses.
Yeah, very good. All right, well, following the three guests here, this is going to be a tough interview to follow with anything any better. Thank you so much, Mr. Bob Raskey, Ms. Karen Noll, and Ms. Savanah Raskey for spending some time with me today and letting our audience know about various pathways to aviation, opportunities for women and people of diversity, and people and opportunities within the military, things that we all can do to become aviators and the like. So if you're thinking about a career in aviation, consider what you've just heard from Bob, Karen, and Savanah. There's probably a path for you to a future in aviation. I'm Ron Timmermans, one of the hosts with the Florida Aviation Network. Thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned. There will be more interesting interviews with other folks to follow this. Thank you again.